Good morning all. We had quite a roller coaster today, but we kind of knew that we'd be risk on because of the calculation. It had flipped prior to FOMC. It had flipped to green in the morning, and that tells us that the retail guys could be trapped, and if they continue to add short, then that number will increase and we'll go further away from zero. Zero is obviously the litmus test where it tells if they're net long or net short. They're currently net short and they could be trapped, so that's worth keeping an eye on a daily basis. VIX is being crushed and it's below its 52-week midpoint, which is your yearly pivot, and it's actually green here as well, so it's looking quite good for risk. Aussie was strong buy and it has been all week, so that's another indication that we could be risk on because Aussie is quite a sensitive currency to risk. I think, I could be wrong, but I think the dollar might gravitate higher. I mean, might inevitably come up to this quadrant next week, because if you remember, the dollar was over here and we're here now, so logically if it's come that far we could potentially do that same distance but come up, and if it does, then that would be very interesting, and then that would tie in to what we're seeing with risk, because the dollar is a safe haven. We don't really want to be we don't want to be exposed to dollar if we're going to be risk on. We probably might want to sell the dollar because that's how it works. So if it comes up, then that's going to be good, and then the dollar and the yen might have to then decide which one's going to be the safe haven, and then finally maybe these guys are going to get blown up and then yen can come down. So the dollar yen is going to be important to watch, those two bubbles. It'll be a big battle. So there's the dollar. It lost some of its strength on the daily, so that is interesting. It's trying to make a bit of a comeback here on the small time frames, and we have to remember monthly it's still really strong, and on the weekly as well. Bit of sentimental weakness potentially on the dollar, and some strength on the Kiwi. Remember, this updates every 15 minutes, so by the time you check this data in an hour, these numbers will change, and it can be quite drastically the shifting. So currently NU would be a buy, but you need to check your technicals. Is it above daily pivot? And also you need to know where to exit as well. That's really important. Know where to exit before you enter, because you need to be thinking about your losses more importantly than your profit. So if you just think of profit, then you become emotionally engaged. You need to think about your losses first, and so stipulate your exit. It's very important. So check your multiple time frames as well on NU, and things like that. Where is it with monthly pivot? Are we above or below? So this is good. Whatever Powell said about the 75 basis point hike, he said he wasn't thinking about it. It's probably too dramatic, and that settled the bond market, and we're not seeing an inversion anymore, which is great. So it's like almost behaving how it should. There's no inversion, so that's great. Admittedly, these could come down quite a bit because them being so high is quite a risk off, but we have so many things going on in the geopolitics, and it explains why they're so high, because there's a lot of uncertainty still, but at least there's no inversion, so that's good. And we'll have to see how we are tomorrow as we close out the week, and this week's gone really quick actually. Don't forget we've got BOE today as well. There's DAX. It shifted a lot. They were actually they've actually shorted it quite a bit, and US 30, the Dow Jones, they shorted it, and likewise with gold, and they've gone long dollar CAD, and that's now making it a sell at the high level. Dollar CAD, so maybe keep an eye on dollar CAD as well, especially if the dollar does weaken. Yeah, just covered that. There's the buy. I covered this on Twitter and on Telegram. There was a potential trap being placed. It came down quite a bit, and it had like an interchange where they went long, so it explains that little move, and then they shorted it, and then we come down, so they got paid on this big candle. So I was thinking, and I covered this pretty much like in real time on Telegram last night, and so this was like a bit of a naughty candle where they got paid, but it just encouraged them to hold on to that bias, and then we retraced, but yet they held on. But they didn't just hold on, but they shorted this spike, came up. Now, did they get out at a small loss? No, they would hold on, because, you know, they had this big move, right? So it was quite bearish at that time, and the next candle came, and then we're here. Note that we're very sideways. It could potentially have a cross, and that would indicate a sell. But that's how you use it. You could definitely, that could be like your weekly profit in 2 hours. You know, if you size, you know, correctly, knew where your exit was, that could have been a fantastic R, and that could have been your weekly profit in those 2 candles. It's a big move. So that's how you use the FXM trading station. Do get it, it's amazing. I know I say it every day, but it's fantastic. And there's gold as well being a buy, and it fell, which it's like it induced the bears to convince them that they're right, and so we came down. They're like, all right, we're actually going to make profit today, great. And up we come. So that's a naughty wick. That's a naughty wick, that one. Now, dollar yen is inversely correlated with the US 500 with 94% probability, which I've never seen before. So that is interesting. So UJ up, S&P with 94% probability, S&P is going to come down, and likewise vice versa. 94% probability, so it's strong. If you're looking for a positive correlation, it's AJ at 92%. So there's definitely something going on with those 2 pairs. So that is interesting. So AJ for positive correlation, UJ for negative correlation. So that should be very useful. So you just pull up an AJ chart and a UJ chart and see how they're going to behave today, and they should have an impact with S&P, or the S&P is going to impact these 2, shall I say. SOC update. Remember, we want colours to match, so EA would be a match. Lots of mismatch. See, red and greens. EJ is for buy, UJ is for buy, and that's it. There's a lot of mismatch. Largest move was dollar CAD, which is that 8% move here, and largest stop loss cluster is AU. You can see that sticking out like a sore thumb. It's above at 72.81. The size is 5.8. It's huge. So there's a quick way if you want to see where the liquidity is. Just check this chart and go, oh, wow, okay, and that's where a likely target's going to be, because that's where the retail guys have got their stops. Okay. Aussie is strongest and Swiss is weakest, but you know that should be quite obvious. That's kind of annoying. And signals were positive yesterday. We got 20 pips, which isn't like a great deal, but it's not negative, so that's good. And but it's profit for the Quasidb system. Admittedly, they did come late in the day, but you know, we'll count them because it adds helps, doesn't it? And they were valid signals, you know, because of the sentiment. So that's that. So today we've got BOE. So take care if we have a pound signal. We could well do, and it's going to very much. You know, whipsaw as well. I've got a feeling that pound USD we might rally, because we did like sell off quite a lot, and so you've got to be careful as well. And if you're trading pound, it's a good idea to look at the euro pound exchange rate. That gives you a big clue as well about pound strength or weakness. And if we get a strong GU and an EG, that's going to mean potentially we're going to have a weak Dixie. Okay, so if you need me to explain that, I can. So keep an eye on EG and GU today, especially because we've got the BOE. So trade safely, know your exit, and you should be fine. And I'm always around if you need help as well.